Black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
Stop saying that Whoopi Goldberg getting yanked from The View right after she attacked me on The View is karma. There's no such thing as karma, sorry. Sorry, but life is random. The only word to describe it when a big game hunter gets trampled by an elephant and then eaten by lions is hilarious.
Bill Maher isn't one to hold back, and this time, Whoopi Goldberg found herself in his crosshairs. She made a comment that Maher saw as peak woke nonsense, and he wasted no time tearing it apart. With his signature sarcasm and sharp wit, Maher dismantled Whoopi's argument, leaving her scrambling to defend herself. Social media, a total frenzy. His fans cheered him on, while the woke crowd lost their minds. Bottom line, when Maher goes in, he goes in. And this debate, far from over.
We have got to get past this endless, unforgiving, zero-tolerance mindset bent on punishing and disappearing anyone caught saying the wrong thing. The right response to speech you don't like is more speech.
Whoopi Goldberg just took a swing, but she might not. Be ready for the punch coming back her way. The claws of cold, hard truth are out, and things aren't looking good. Remember when Bill Maher called out Sunny Hostin for twisting his words? Well, the View crew isn't ready to let that go. This time it's Whoopi stepping up, seemingly on a mission to do what Sunny couldn't, land a real hit. Looks like Sunny wasn't prepared for the heat Maher brought, so she called in backup. Enter Whoopi, storming in like a reality show. Contestant no one asked for, ready to stir the pot. But did her attempt at a takedown actually land, or did Maher shut it down just as fast? Stay tuned, because this showdown is just getting started.
Black people can't afford to indulge rich white people's need to endlessly flagellate themselves. They just want prices to go down and good jobs and the police when you call them.
Well, if he's right, then why didn't people vote for the former prosecutor who actually had policy plans to help the working class?
Whoopi Goldberg, flipping through the woke playbook like it's her personal guide to winning arguments. When the debate starts sinking faster than the Titanic, what's the usual strategy? Build a straw man and go on the attack. And that's exactly what happened when Bill Maher laid out a simple, straightforward point. Black Americans want better jobs, a stronger economy, and responsible policing. Seems reasonable, right? But then Whoopi jumps in, rambling about voting for a former prosecutor with a plan for the working class. Does that actually connect? Not even a little. It's like she's throwing darts blindfolded, hoping something, anything, sticks. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. And Maher, he wasn't about to let that nonsense slide.
Down statues of Lincoln and get rid of the police. Just, no, it's not that I've gotten old, it's that your ideas are...
Bill. Maher didn't mince words. He called out Whoopi's arguments for exactly what they are, pure nonsense. But honestly, are we even surprised? The View has basically turned into the political talk show equivalent of a train wreck. Painful to watch, yet somehow impossible to look away from. Sure, it's always been known for its controversial, and, let's be real, questionable, takes. But Sunny Hostin and Whoopi Goldberg have taken the chaos to a whole new level with their latest round of wild commentary. Remember when Charlemagne the God dared to be a guest on The View? You could practically see him questioning reality, like he had accidentally stepped into an alternate universe where logic goes to die.
Is valid because, Democrats stand on this moral high ground all the time and, they act so self-righteous. The reality is he didn't have to say anything in regards to, whether or not, his son wanted to be pardoned. He could have said, hey, man, I'm not focused on that.
Here's the setup. President Joe Biden, the self-proclaimed defender of no one being above the law, just pardoned his own son, Hunter Biden, after he was found guilty of corruption and related charges. Shocking, right? So much for family values. As expected, this move set off a firestorm of backlash. After all, how do you preach about justice while handing your own son a free pass? It's like saying the law applies to everyone, unless your last name happens to be Biden. Hunter's guilt was about as obvious as a toddler with cookie crumbs all over his face. Yet somehow, accountability didn't make it onto the Biden family's to-do list. And that's exactly what Charlemagne pointed out. If the woke crowd insists that no one is above the law, shouldn't they actually follow their own standard? Sounds simple, right? Well, not if you ask Whoopi. Next voice, and there it is. Yet another eye-roll-worthy take from the queen of cringe herself, Whoopi Goldberg. This time, she actually had the nerve to claim that President Biden didn't lie when he said, "No, one is above the law." Really, Whoopi? Because there's a mountain of evidence, video, audio, and maybe even some ancient cave paintings, proving he said exactly that.
I'm going to stop you for a second.
Uh-oh.
Only because you don't know that it was a lie. We don't know why he changed his
You really think he just changed his mind over Thanksgiving weekend all of a
No,
sudden?
I'm going to tell you what I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I think he changed his mind because he got sick of watching everybody else get over.
Watching Whoopi tell a blatant lie is like watching someone argue, with a straight face, that the sky isn't blue while standing under a cloudless sky. At this point, her mental gymnastics could qualify her for the Olympics, though, let's be honest, she'd probably trip over her own logic before making it to the podium. You could see the shock on Charlemagne's face as she doubled down, but she wasn't finished yet. Then came the real kicker. Whoopi actually suggested that maybe, just maybe, Biden changed his mind because he was sick and tired of watching everybody get over on him. Charlemagne, absolutely stunned into silence.
Nation was founded on the principle that there are no kings in America. Each of us is equal before the law. No one is above the law.
The problem with the woke mob, they only call out wrongdoing when the guilty party isn't part of their exclusive little club. But when one of their own gets caught red-handed, the outrage suddenly fades into a quiet excuse, or a case of selective amnesia. Of course, Whoopi and her crew pulled their usual stunts while Charlemagne was on The View. No surprise there. But when Bill Maher caught wind of their nonsense, he basically said, "Hold my beer." What followed? One of the most brutal verbal smackdowns we've heard in a long time.
I'm just going to follow the straight and narrow always, because that's what's expected of Democrats.
But that's their fault. They're the ones that go out there and they stand on this moral high ground.
Listen.
They don't have to do.
Next voice Maher nailed it. The woke mob loves playing moral authority. But when their double standards are exposed, the hypocrisy is undeniable. Hunter Biden was guilty, plain and simple. But with his father in the Oval Office, he walks free. If it were anyone else, the mob would be demanding blood. But when it's their own, justice suddenly takes a back seat. Maher called it out for what it is, a complete farce. The real question, how much longer will Americans tolerate this? Because this isn't just about Hunter. It's about a system rigged to protect the powerful, while punishing everyone else. And the woke mob hasn't been acting alone. Mainstream media has been right there, covering for them.
You love to speak truth to power, and we always should, but you have completely lost the ability to speak truth to bullshit.
The media bent over backward to downplay the Hunter Biden scandal, working overtime to protect President Biden while sabotaging Trump's re-election bid. Major outlets dismissed the story as Russian disinformation, even as the evidence piled up. Meanwhile, anyone who questioned the narrative was silenced, censored, or ignored. And of course, Whoopi Goldberg eagerly joined in, scoffing at the allegations on The View. But Bill Maher? He wasn't having it. He called her out for running interference instead of seeking the truth, tearing apart her excuses and exposing the hypocrisy for everyone to see.
Appropriate to bury the Hunter Biden.
You're talking about the press doing that?
He's saying that's what they did, and that is what they did. They buried the Hunter Biden story before the election because they were like, we can't risk having the election thrown to Trump. We'll tell them after the election.
And we know for a fact that that's what they did?
Of course, you don't
but
follow
I mean,
this.
saying you know for a fact that that's what they did. I don't know what they did.
I know, because you only watch MSNBC.
No, that's not.
Maher hit the nail on the head. The ladies of The View, especially Whoopi Goldberg, aren't just woke. They're like a pack of sharks, circling and ready to tear apart anyone who doesn't toe the ideological line. Their version of debate isn't about open discussion or seeking the truth. It's about shutting down dissent with sneers and snark. And Whoopi? She's mastered the art of waving off opposing views like they're beneath her, as if different opinions don't even deserve to be heard. But Maher wasn't afraid to call them out, exposing their tactics for what they really are. Bullying, disguised as activism. No wonder he's become such a thorn in their side. While they push one-sided narratives, Maher keeps pulling back the curtain on their hypocrisy. And for viewers tired of the same old echo chamber, his takedowns are a much-needed breath of fresh air.